Okay, so next question is from Adam. Well, I think Adam reposted this. Will, I figured out you can extract the post ID even before it's on the GBP site and paste it on the above. No kidding. I've always tried to find that post ID from like the share URLs that you get from either, organic search or from maps, and it never has the same string of characters. So in the mastermind, Will, I'd love to find out how you do that. If you don't mind sharing that in the mastermind community, that would be fantastic to know. Because I've always had to wait, and my whole entire team just waits until it appears on the GB website before we can extract that post URL. So my whole team's been trained to publish the post and then just come back 24 hours later and get the post URL. Seriously, that's what they do. So if there's another way to do it, I'm all ears, man. I'd love to know it. All right, so Adam posted this. I believe this came from a comment in the Hump Day Hangout replay from last week.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Does Semantic Mastery MasterMind include training materials like SOPs that can be used by VAs? Yes, that is precisely why I create them in SOP format, so that you can work through them, but it's so that you can assign them to VAs. Now, I want to clarify something right now. I develop all of the training now, other than the webinars and, text posts in our community, other than the webinars and like normal, posts in our community. All the training that I produce is done in SOP format, because that's how I train all of my team members. That's how I do all of the training. I try to provide you guys, our members, with the SOPs so that they can assign workflows to their team members. Okay, so I explained that, right? I do everything in SOP format. But the platform that I use is called Flowster, and Flowster used to have a free option, and they no longer have a free option. So it costs $28 a month to use Flowster. There had been some whining in our group about having to pay for $28 a month in order to access the Flowster app, which is the SOP software application that we use. And look, I understand if you're paying for a mastermind, you don't also want to have to pay $28 a month to use an SOP platform, to have a subscription for an SOP platform. But the amount of detail that I put into these SOPs is incredible. And the ability to be able to run workflows from an SOP template and assign it to a VA and allow them to work through it, and the efficiency of that is so valuable that anybody that is complaining about $28 a month to have access to SOP software with fully developed SOPs that they don't have to create and spend countless hours developing themselves. In my opinion, if $28 is that hard on you, get out of the goddamn business, right? Your priorities are way out of line if you can't pay for $28 to use SOP software. And I know some people don't like it when I say that. I don't really care, honestly, because in my opinion, the $28 a month is absolutely worth it when you have really well-developed SOPs that you don't have to spend the time doing. How much is your time worth more than $28 an hour? If so, I spend hours and hours and hours developing these SOPs, guys, so that you don't have to. Of course, I do recommend that you go in and modify them to be specific to your needs and things like that, but you have the foundation delivered to you, handed to you. And for $28 a month minimum, there's some upgrades and things like that you can, whatever. At the bottom line, the bare minimum, $28 a month is, if you pay annually, I think it's like $24 a month or whatever. So all I'm trying to say is, I think if $28 a month is too difficult for you to pay for, you probably need to get out of business. Because again, the value is absolutely there. So I just want to preface all of that up front, just because, like I said, I feel very strongly about that. I can tell, because I know a lot of people waste a lot of money on a lot of stupid shit in our industry. And this is something that is incredibly valuable because it saves so much time. It's such an efficient way to train and manage employees, subordinates, et cetera, that in my opinion, it's hands down one of the best investments you can make, is having an SOP application, especially when somebody is providing with done for you SOPs, right? Whether you use my exact SOPs or not, I don't care. At least you have a foundation that you can build upon, or you can model your own SOPs that you can start to develop for your specific needs based upon the SOPs that I've been developing, which I've been doing that for freaking years. So all of that is to just come back and say, I wanted to preface very clearly that in order for you to access the SOPs the way that I intend you to, you're going to need a Flowster account. I actually had a call I just mentioned with Eric earlier today, an onboarding call, a new mastermind member. And I was explaining to him the same thing, because we, in our circle community, and I can just demonstrate this really quickly, in our circle community, we have the SOP section right here. And Adam, God bless him, we were trying to accommodate the people in the group that didn't want to pay for Flowster, and started to convert some of our Flowster SOPs in, and I'll demonstrate what one of these looks like in a minute, into Notion format, excuse me. The problem with the Notion format, though, is I am constantly updating the SOPs, and like all the time I'm in there updating and changing things. And every time I make a change in the SOP, the original, which is in Flowster, I can click a button and it automatically updates all the workflows that have been running off of that template. And I can notify the group members, excuse me, that a template has been updated, and they can re-import the updated template so that then they have all the updates in their accounts. If we tried to take a lot of our SOPs and convert them, we did several of them, converted them into Notion for those that didn't want to pay for a Flowster. The problem with that is every time I make a change in the SOP template, the main, then we have to duplicate that change in Notion. And honestly, I don't have the time or the desire to do that. And it's just way too cumbersome, especially because I'm constantly modifying the SOPs. It's just not sustainable to do it that way. So I finally made the decision, like, I'm going to continue producing the SOPs in Flowster format. That's how they're going to be delivered. And I hope everybody can understand why. It's very, very important. It's very inexpensive cost to have access to stuff that is, in my opinion, incredibly valuable for managing and operating an agency. So to get back to the question, do we have SOPs that you can use to train your VAs and all that kind of stuff? Yes, that is precisely what all of these are for, right? And there's a bunch here, but I'm been working this entire year in 2023 on a whole new sequence of SOPs for what I'm calling the directory hybrid agency, which all of those SOPs will be available for all mastermind members. Full stop. Like if you're in the mastermind, you'll get all the SOPs. The specific directory hybrid agency program, which has its own kind of additional coaching and everything else, that's going to be a separate tuition and everything else. But the SOPs, all mastermind members will have access to those. So the full DHA program will be accessible in SOP format to anybody that's in the mastermind. So you pay mastermind pricing, you get access to this entire program that I've been working on this entire year. So all of that, let me just get in here and I'll just show you an example. So here's an example of one of the, like I'm in SOPs all the time, like daily. I'm in here daily. That is not a joke. So here's an example of, let's go into here, GBP optimization process. This is what it looks like on the, when you run a workflow. So a template is where you create the SOP, and then you run a workflow from the template, and that's what you work through is the workflow. So this is how I would do it. So let me just go back to the template. This is what it looks like in template view. Okay, so this is the Google Business Profile SOP, right? This is what for Google Business Optimization SOP. So this is what it looks like in templated format, okay? But then if I want to go to run a workflow off of this, what I do is click New Workflow. Then what I always do is I retitle it for, in this case, I'd say like GBP. And then let's just give, we were looking at, I think, Genesis Tree Service Leesburg. So I'm going to say GTS Leesburg, so that we title it after the project that this workflow is going to be applied to, if that makes sense. And then I always put in, whoever I'm assigning it to. So I'm just going to say, me in this case, and I would assign it to myself or one of my team members. I got a bunch of team members in here, as you can see. So whoever it is that I'm assigning it to, I'm just going to select them and assign it to them. Okay. I'm going to click Create Workflow. Now here it is in workflow view. This is way better than the template view. And this is a very, very clean interface. And that they call it Flowster for a reason. It flows very well. I can do all kinds of stuff in here, text, video, file uploads, images, checklists. Just a number of, you can create dependent workflows, conditional workflows, all kinds of stuff. Like, it's really, really cool. But the point that I like about this is I can, now that this has been assigned to Bradley, so my worker, right? Bradley comes in and he can, come right to this first one and start checking these off as they're being completed. And if the employee, whoever it is, they run into an issue, okay, they get to a specific point, they can always comment right here, and you can set up notifications to send you an email, SMS, integrate with Zapier. You can do all kinds of stuff, send a Slack message, whatever. Somebody can come in here and comment, and you can jump in because you got notification that, they commented, and you can jump in and say, oh, they got stuck here, and provide assistance. And then they can pick right back up where they left off. They can leave, come back, next week, and they can pick right back up where they left off. And some of these say one field needs to be completed first. So this is saying they can't even check this module off until all of these boxes are checked. Now, I don't do all of my SOPs this way. I only do the ones that I'm like training brand new, like green people that don't really know anything. I do it very specific checklists like this. But for my more experienced VAs, things like that, I just do written steps along with videos and supporting, supporting materials, etc. But the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is very, very thorough. I mean, very, very thorough. I try to do all of my SOPs this way because this is how I train all of my team members, and I've been building SOPs for freaking years. So, and they evolve over time. More recently, and just very quickly, I'll show you the last kind of the ones that I've been working on that I'll be releasing most of these SOPs next month in October. But if we go into the DHA stuff, for example, the one that I've been working on for the last few weeks is Brand Builder. You can take a look again, guys, just to clarify, like you can see this one was actually applied to a client location, right? You can see it. So these are one of the more newer recent ones that I've been working on. I was in there today actually adding to it. So this is, again, very, very thorough. I mean, this goes through an entire business in a box, a productized service that we are launching next month called Brand Builder. And all of this, for every team member, this is one big SOP that has the team members who are assigned to each one of these tasks are all listed here. And I mean, it's incredibly thorough, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Flowster has been absolutely fantastic since I think I got connected with Flowster 2, maybe 3 years ago. And I love it. I really do. I think it's absolutely worth the cost to be able to have training very clearly in this format, which makes it so much easier to train people, manage them, etc. So anyway, hopefully that's clear, guys. I hope that makes sense. This is all of everything that's available in the mastermind currently is, where the hell did I go? I lost, there it is, right here. Is currently in the SOP module here. You can see a bunch of the links here. This is for the directory stuff. Some of this is going to be simplified. That's what I've been working on next month when I go to release all the new SOPs. Kind of the directory process and some of that stuff will be consolidated. It will be simpler. It won't be as much tech setup for members and things like that. So that's just so you guys know, there's a bunch of them here. Okay. A bunch. I mean, I'm telling you, everything that I do is in SOP format anymore. All right. So hopefully that's clear. Okay. That was a good question. I appreciate it.